Hello everybody and welcome back. It is good to talk to all of you again today. I've got some new information for all of you with regards to the Alaska and Le Terrible. Both of these ships, there's some new information about them. First up, we're going to start off with Alaska because Alaska, we're going to be able to see sort of what her armor looks like and what her armor model is going to look like. Oh, right, one more thing before I continue. Do check the end of the video. I pulled 3 names from the last World of Warships video, which was about La Terrible, and there is going to be crate codes for 3 lucky people. So if you entered, make sure to check the end of the video to see if your name was pulled, and then of course, if it is, make sure to join the Discord server to claim your prize, and that link is coming up right now. Alright, so back to Alaska. First of all, isn't she beautiful? My goodness, like look at the model for her. Oh, such a beautiful ship. Cannot wait to get my hands on her. But more importantly, let's take a look at her armor model, because it's actually quite interesting. Before I start that though, the one other thing I gotta make a mention of, which is, I think last time I made a mistake when I did the calculation. Surface detectability, I think I said was going to be 12.1, I think the last time I said this. It's actually going to be 12.5. I did make a minor calculation error there. Aside from that, other important things. The guns. The firing arc of the guns, the rear gun, needs you to be at about 35-degree angle. Yeah, so you're going to have to show a little bit more side than I think I would be comfortable in this particular ship. So you might be very much spending time sneaking around getting onto flanks where you're less likely to just get massively citadel to death. So it feels like that's what it's going to be like. Again, the rear arcs aren't exactly amazing either. You can kind of tell there's going to be quite a big gap there in the rear. So Alaska's main battery arcs aren't all that amazing, but like I said, she does have some special quirks to her guns. She has that special USN auto bounce angle, and that coupled with her armor piercing, which we have some stats for right now, she looks like she's going to be quite capable as an armor piercing cruiser. Now, she's not going to be anything like Stalingrad iteration 1, where we had those god-tier angles and super fast velocity shells. Alaska, she's going to be a bit more normal in that regard, but still, these are heavy shells. 305mm shells that weigh 517 kilograms. These are heavy shells. Good Krupp values, 2470, and yeah, her shell velocity isn't great, but I mean, with the mass and Krupp, these shells are going to have sufficient penetration. And if you combine that with the auto bounce angles, these armor piercing shells should do good work. Damage wise, they're pretty good, 8900, and air drag is pretty standard, 0.33. Her HE shells, we got some info about them as well now. They're a bit faster velocity wise, air drag a little bit worse, shell mass a little bit on the lighter side compared to the AP. But I mean, they should perform relatively similar in terms of the arcs of the shells. Burn probability 0.27, but again, this is coupled with a reload time base 20 seconds, so it's not awful. I mean, the HE is definitely going to be usable, but again, like I said, most of the time I think with Alaska you're going to be sticking with armor piercing just because of those special auto bounce angles. Everything else, not really all that special. I mean, yeah, she's got some secondary guns, but this is not going to be a secondary ship. Air defense wise, not bad actually. 91 DPS on the long range, 223 on the 40s, 122 on the 20mm. The A, yeah, I mean, especially if you take defensive A, I think it's going to do work. But even without DFAA, it's going to cost you some planes to attack this particular ship. Now, of course, do keep in mind that the ship does have some pretty awful torpedo protection, so you might actually want to consider either hydroacoustic if you're worried about destroyer torps, or get DFA if you're worried about airdropped ones. Everything else is still pretty normal, but the armor is where things I think get really, really interesting. First things first, I mean, remember, she is going to be tier 9, so she's in the same category as Kronstadt, but the first thing you want to look at is 27mm bow, 27mm aft stern section. This is going to allow her to be able to resist fire from 380 millimeter guns. So that means ships like the Richelieu, the Alsace, Bismarck, Tirpitz. Alaska is going to have some protection bow and aft to those particular ships. But more significantly, she has, get ready for this, right there, she's got a 36 millimeter upper deck piece. Now, the upper belt is not as good as the upper deck, as it's going to be 28 here. Again, enough for the 380 millimeter guns. But the 36 millimeter upper deck piece at longer range, if you're nicely angled, you're going to be able to bounce everything, including Yamato armor piercing. And I would say outright, in terms of just armor protection, in terms of these things, she is already better than Kronstadt. Kronstadt, being 25 all over, has substantial weaknesses. This one, 27 front, back, and 36 in the middle, she is going to be better protected. Sure, her HP pool isn't going to be as big, but she is going to be better protected. On top of that, if you actually take a look at her, sort of her, I guess, horizontal protection, that is her deck and everything, take a look. Her horizontal protection, she's got multiple layers, right? There's the 36 one on top, then there's this 96 mil layer here, and then there's another layer at the bottom there. There you go. There's another one here. That's 19 millimeter, and that's a Citadel layer. She also has, I think it was 100, yep, there you go, 102 millimeter pieces here on the side. She just looks like she's going to be pretty well protected. Her Citadel looks like to be very much underwater. Take a look at where her Citadel is right there. That's her Citadel. That is quite comfortably underwater, as you can tell. The water is there, and the Citadel's underwater. So, ship is going to be pretty well protected, I would say. And that's a good thing. Furthermore, her belt armor, her main belt armor here is 229 millimeters. So, if you angled, battleships, if you can have them shoot at your belt, you're going to bounce their shells. So, Alaska, from at least this current version of it, looking at it right now from this Datamined data, for a large cruiser, well protected, and definitely I would think better protected than the Kronstadt, which is the current tier 9 sort of super heavy cruiser that we have in the game, or battle cruiser, however you want to think about it. So Alaska, promising, very, very promising. Good protection, good guns, good, auto bounce angles. She looks like she is going to be an amazing ship. But again, we'll have to see if there's any nerfs or buffs or whatever coming. I have a hidden feeling she's probably going to get nerfed a little bit, though. Just because right now she has a lot of good things going for her. Moving on away from Alaska, and we got a little bit more information about Le Terrible. First things first, making one correction to my last video about this particular ship. She does actually have a third torpedo launcher model, this one over here in the back. Now, the reason why initially I said I couldn't find it was because when I looked at the historical, I guess, blueprint sketches or whatever, that one was missing. And I'm not sure why, but it is. But in the game, they've modeled it. So, the Le Terrible is going to have workable torpedo numbers, right? 6 torpedoes on one side, with, again, like I mentioned, good range, decent damage, pretty good reload. So again, let's take a look at Le Terrible, anything notable that I gotta talk about, and the one big thing, and this is the one big thing, and it has to do with her engine boost. She actually gets the French engine boost. Oh boy. Move out of the way, Khabarovsk. There is a faster ship on the high seas now. Le Terrible with the French engine boost and a speed flag and her crazy 43 knot speed is going to be speedboating around the map at like 55 knots. Wow. This thing is gonna be a very, very, very fast destroyer. The ultimate speedboat. And that's pretty nuts. 55 knots speed is gonna be pretty nuts. And it's going to be hard to hit the ship, I'll tell you that much. At range, it'll be hard to hit. However, it is actually going to be necessary for her to have that crazy speed, because take a look at her firing arcs. They're horrible. She can get, if she's going towards the front, she can get 2 guns out quite easily, 3 guns out reasonably easily, but if you want to get gun 4 and 5 out, you've got to go completely broadside. The Terrible doesn't have good firing arcs at all whatsoever, so that high speed is necessary if she actually wants to stay alive, because she pretty much has to stay broadside onto a target in order to keep shooting and doing decent damage with her guns. Her primary thing is still going to be her guns. Yes, the torpedoes can offer some stuff, but the torpedoes isn't everything, especially because she doesn't exactly have enough of them, right? Let's take a look at her shells. Let's see if there's anything else notable here about her shells. Well, here we go. Let's take a look at her armor piercing. And I mentioned a little bit about her armor piercing last time. So, good shell velocity for her armor piercing shells. Air drag value is not too bad. Decent shell mass. Crop value is a little bit low. I mean, her shells probably are going to be okay downrange. Like, this is not going to be some ships where the shells are like super floaty and they don't work downrange. These shells, they should work at the longer distances. Again, it kind of goes and plays into that playstyle of hers. She's going to be a standoff range spammer slash flanker, right? With that speed, she is going to get onto people's flanks. But she can get there because of that crazy speed and then really start to pummel them with shells like this, the AP shells, which do really good damage. Her HE also, pretty good velocity, a little bit poor on the air drag, but still, I mean, it's high explosive with a good burn chance. I would say Le Terrible it fits that role. This is actually further reinforced by her torpedo tube arcs. If you take a look at her torpedo launchers, the one launcher has a decent arc, but the other one, again, requires you to basically be full-on broadside. So, this is the kind of ship that it's going to be tailored to some people perfectly. People who like the very high speed and know how to use it to get into the good positions. And it's going to allow them to really be a pest on the flanks, right? Because of the way her AP is, because of those shells, she is going to pose a certain degree of threat. She's going to do good damage, and don't forget, she does have that main battery reload booster. She can put quite a few salvos into a ship and get relatively good burst damage there as well. So watch out. This ship is scary. Scary. If it gets on your flank, it'll be scary. Still, we'll have to see how she plays in game, and of course what Wargaming does with the ship as well. Are they going to maybe nerf her a little bit, or do they prefer to have a 55 knot ship running around in their game? We'll have to see. And when I get my hands on testy ships, I'll let you know more details in a work in progress video. And of course, let's announce the winners for those crate codes. So here we go, using this nice little comment picker. And the first one goes to Alex McGonigal. There you go. Alex, again, join the Discord server, send me a message, and we will work out how to get you this crate code. Alright, let's pick one more. Actually, I'm going to pick 3 in total, I think, if I remember right. Yes, Zemerit. There we go. You're another winner. And, of course, finally, one last person. There we go. Do the draw. Anyways, one more thing, of course. I'm getting, 4 of my wisdom teeth pulled this week. So, yeah. We'll see how that goes. And, of course, Caroran, you're the final winner. Hop on Discord, send me a message, and we will work out the details. Aside from all that, folks, take care, have a good one, and I'll touch all of you again soon.